Hello everyone, this is Gene from NYC again. I'm back with another video. I would like to welcome Mr. Adrian McBride to the fold. He's the newest subscriber, number 85 apparently. So thank you, Adrian. I'm happy to have you. Hope that you continue to enjoy the content. Now, let me get to the content of the video. So, Bounding Into Comics put out an article yesterday. And the title of the article is Final Fantasy VII Remake Director Confirms Tifa's Chest Was Tightened Due to Ethics Department at Square Enix. And according to the article, which was written by George or Jorge, it's spelled Jorge, so could be said either way. By George or Jorge Arenas from yesterday. It reads that Final Fantasy VII Remake director Tetsuya Nomura confirmed Tifa's chest was tightened due to the ethics department at Square Enix. Now, Nomura-san did the art, or at least did some of the art. I don't remember if he was the art director back in 1997. He probably wasn't, but he certainly was a major part of the art, the artistic look of the characters back in the day when the game was released in 1997. So he, was a huge influence on the original designs. He's a huge influence now. So it concerns me when he himself admits that Tifa's chest was tightened due to the ethics department at Square Enix. And I want to be clear. I did a video recently, maybe a few nights ago, maybe 1 or 2 days ago, talking about the trailer that revealed Tifa, and I have no issue in and of itself with her look. I even noted in that video that she most likely was a bit toned down in the chest department. And I said in that video that I believed, and I still believe this, that they were trying to strike a balance between her original design and the sensitivities of today's climate and today's atmosphere, because of course 1997 has been gone for a very, very, very long time. Standards are different, tastes are different, what people find offensive and inoffensive is different, and I understand that. I don't have any issue with them toning down her chest a bit, and apparently now she has some sort of black top or black sports bra or something to that effect underneath to sort of lift her breast so that it doesn't have that sagging look that the original had, which implied that she wasn't wearing anything underneath. So as a look, as a design, I have no issue with Tifa's chest or any other part of her look. My only criticism, if that, and I said it in the Tifa reveal trailer, was that I actually wish the footwear, the boots, were a bit prominent, because one of the artistic signatures of Nomura-san is that he puts nearly comically large shoes on his characters. You look at the character designs of Tifa or Aerith in Final Fantasy VII, or if you look at Sora from Kingdom Hearts, there's this unique artistic element of giving them large feet, giving them shoes that are noticeable, and that is unique to Nomura. So the biggest change for me when I was watching the trailer actually wasn't Tifa's chest. It was that her footwear didn't stand out the way it once did. But again, that was a minor quibble. It's not a big deal. What concerns me with this reveal, with this confirmation from Nomura-san, is that an ethics committee, I want to repeat that, an ethics committee was called in to evaluate an artistic depiction of a character, to evaluate an artistic decision made by the art director and his team, the same art director who was part of the original art team back in 1997. Now, I will be clear. I understand that an ethics committee, to the Japanese, could be very different to what an ethics committee to an American or to a Westerner is. So we could be dealing with two different definitions here. I acknowledge that. But regardless, we're talking about a separate committee being brought in to basically, from my perspective, be the arbiter of taste for artists, telling them, or rather trying to advise them. And I want to be clear, I don't think that these individual people who are part of this committee are bad or evil. They no doubt just have a job to do, just like anybody else does. But just that even in Japan now, they are becoming so sensitive to modern Western sensibilities that even they now have to bring in an ethics committee to evaluate an artistic decision and an artistic depiction. This, to me, bringing in an ethics committee to have a say on an artistic choice is for the ethics committee stepping way, way, way out of bounds and way, way, way over the line. That, to me, is not their place. It would be like in my job. I'll use my job as an example. In my regular life, I work in the compliance office of a college. My office has many roles. One of those roles is to investigate violations of policy, in particular violations of the university's non-discrimination policy, violations of the university's sexual misconduct policy, violations regarding laws about the American Disabilities Act, and various other things. These are all umbrella terms, and many things fall under them. But that, when it comes to the investigative side of the responsibilities of the office, is what my supervisor looks into. Those are the issues she is concerned about. As I was saying, in my regular work, I work in compliance, and we cover certain issues, certain things. The parameters are made very clear. It would be a gross overstepping of the boundaries and of the office's authority for my supervisor or myself to decide what can and cannot be taught to students, what information, what art, what cultural discussions are deemed acceptable and are deemed unacceptable. Imagine for a moment if my boss and myself were called into a meeting with the faculty to discuss what art the art teachers can discuss with students. Who are we to say that an art teacher can, say, talk about architecture of cathedrals, but can't show the statue of David because the statue of David is nude? Who are we to make that decision? We're not artists, we're not teachers. It's not our place to make that type of decision. And likewise, I do not believe it is the place of an ethics committee to make an artistic decision. So I am greatly concerned that Nomura-san has confirmed that an ethics committee had a say in Tifa's breast size. Because then the question becomes, what else do they have a say in? What else are they evaluating? It reminds me a lot of in comics, where there used to be the Comics Code Authority, the CCA. And they, for many years, for many decades, for many generations, were the arbiters of taste when it came to comics. And they, in the beginning especially, were especially restrictive, and they banned things like smoking and swearing and horror and the occult, all because they were saying that, these things could corrupt the youth. They did not respect first of all, the intelligence of children, right? The intelligence of the reader or of the parents. Now, am I saying that all art should be exposed to children? No, of course, right? I wouldn't say to expose, highly graphic or sexual art to a 5-year-old. Certainly not. But I don't believe, generally speaking, that it's the place of a committee, of a moral guardian committee, which is what this ethics committee has turned into, in my estimation, to tell artists what to do in this case, right? When did they become the arbiters of taste? Who are they to say what is acceptable to feature in a video game that is supposed to be a remake of a video game from 1997? I don't agree with this. If parents are concerned about what their children are exposed to in the media, then let them be parents and regulate the media that their children consume. Let them teach their children to be responsible consumers of media. Let them teach their children how to evaluate art and how to not believe that, just because you see it on TV, it's real. It's not. That is something that should be left to parents. It should not be left to a committee or even to the artist. Let the artist create. Let the ethics committee make sure that no actual ethics are being violated. Let the artist do art. Let the lawyers handle all the legal stuff. Let the localization team handle all the localization stuff. Let everybody do their part and do their job. Stay in your lane is basically what I am trying to say here. Something else that interests me and concerns me is that Nomura-san also says in the article that the Honeybee Inn section has been changed to be more modern, right? So that it does not offend people of today's sensibilities. If I can just pull this up. 1 second, I'm scrolling on my phone as I record this. Here we go. So this is what it says on the Bounty into Comics article about the Honeybee Inn. It says, Nomura also noted they have changed the Honeybee Inn cross-dressing event. And what I'm about to read now is what Nomura has said. The Honeybee Inn cross-dressing event is still in the game. We've made it more modern. If we made the place like we did in the original game, the physical uneasiness would be overwhelming. So that was no good. I don't know about overwhelming. I wasn't overwhelmed when I first saw it I would have been 12 when the game came out, all those years ago. But the fact that this is being changed and he's confirmed it, and it's actually a concern I expressed in the Tifa reveal trailer. I'm starting to be convinced more and more now that this game, although it's called the Final Fantasy VII Remake, it seems like it's starting to turn out more and more to be the Final Fantasy VII Reboot. And I'm not quite sure I can be on board with that, especially when, again, it's supposed to be a remake, not a reboot. If you wanted to reboot it, just say you want to reboot it. This is supposed to be a remake. If it's a remake, it should, at least in my estimation, be pretty much the game that was released in 1997, just with updated graphics. A reboot is when you start changing character designs and when you start changing elements of characters and storylines and places and stuff like that. It's when you put a new spin on a familiar territory. It seems to me more and more that this is becoming a reboot and it's not a remake, despite the name. And while I hope that people who are interested enjoy it, again, I don't want it to do bad. I don't want it to be bad. But it's not what I'm here for. It's not what I would want. And it's not something that I would put my money to. I am going to stick with the original. I'll still keep an eye on this because I think it's very pretty, and I don't think, objectively speaking, it's bad. It just seems more and more that it seems to be moving away from Final Fantasy VII. And if you can't stick to the spirit of what the original was, then why are you remaking it? But anyway, those are my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts, and I will see you around next time.